What is up, guys? Sonduren here. In this video, we're going to uncover whether the Lexus NX350h is the queen of luxury SUVs. So if you guys know, you've been following along on the channel, we've had this vehicle now for about 8 to 9 months. We bought it in the winter and I've been extremely happy with it. If you haven't already, check out that pickup and delivery video. It was an exciting moment. But now I want to give you the real review. After 17,000 kilometers, about 9 months or so, how we have liked this SUV. And again, what did we buy it for? We needed an A to B driver. We have a baby. We wanted a reliable family car that can get us from point A to B with a little bit of luxury and that reliability that I care so much about. And so that's exactly what this car looks to deliver. Now, let's talk about the price. Number one, after taxes, about $70,000. This is the 2023 Lexus NX350h with the ultra luxury package. This is not the top of the line executive package. This is not the F Sport package. I found that this was the best value for us. We're missing some things like the Mark Levinson sound system, the power rear fold seats, the heads-up display, some minor things like that. None of those were a big deal breaker for me personally, so we thought this was the best package for us. We have it in this eminent white pearl with the Palomino interior. I absolutely love this combo and this look. I really do like that. But this car was basically around $64,000 plus taxes, ended up being around $70,000 out the door. So that's the price. In terms of the competition, there was a lot to think about. I made separate videos on why we picked this over, let's say, the X5 or the GV70, etc. You can go ahead and check that out. I'll put it in the card above. But outside of the competition, focused on, let's go into the performance, the engine. And what I wanted as that A to B driver was something that still was peppy enough to get me from point A to B with the power that I need, but something that's fuel efficient. The economy is pretty crazy right now. Gas prices are pretty nuts. What does this have? 2.5 liter, 4-cylinder engine, very reliable, dual injected, port and direct injected, making about 240 horsepower and 167 pound-feet of torque, which is claimed. Now, with that hybrid engine, with that hybrid and battery power, they did not combine that total for the torque. So what I will say is over 17,000 kilometers of driving this vehicle, you do feel that. This car does not feel like it has 167 pound-feet of torque. I think this SUV feels like it's got 200 pound-feet of torque, is my best guess in the wind. Now, we could go into a dyno. Hopefully I can go do that soon and show you. But that's my, butt in the seat kind of feeling. With that performance, it's made it to a CVT transmission, which does arguably pretty well. The fuel economy. This is the big one. On average, you should be getting 6 liters per 100 kilometers in mixed driving, which is phenomenal. And obviously, because this is a hybrid, a self-charging hybrid, the more you drive in the city, the better fuel economy that you will get. I made a TikTok about this. I ended up getting about 4.7 liters per 100 kilometers, which is even better than that 6 liters per 100 kilometers, which is really amazing. This is why you should be choosing a hybrid vehicle over electric. I'm getting this 4.5 liters per 100 kilometers on my 2023 Lexus NX350h with a hybrid powertrain, and I get the best of both worlds. I get a hybrid vehicle that can do primarily electricity in the city, but I have the flexibility of my gas engine for any long road trip. So I'm not stuck with range anxiety. I'm not stuck with 30 to 40% battery degradation over the winter. In Canada, this happens, and I've driven Tesla Model 3s, Model S's, and other manufacturers' electric cars, and they all suffer from the same thing. Not to mention, our charging infrastructure in Canada and in North America absolutely sucks. So what do you want to do for the next 7 to 10 years is get something that makes the most sense. And I think a hybrid vehicle delivering fuel economy like this, which is unheard of. I would have thought, old Civics do this. Now you get this kind of fuel economy in luxury-sized SUVs. Hybrid is the answer. Put that on TikTok, and that kind of went viral. The Tesla fanboys are coming after me and all this stuff. If you haven't already, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I'll link my social stuff up on there. It's kind of where I post, here and there, random updates on certain things, behind the scenes on videos. So if you want to check that out, make sure you follow me there as well. But basically, very impressed with the fuel economy. Again, 17,000 kilometers. I'm so impressed. Basically, if you're in city driving, we went to Chicago for an 8-hour road trip. I would say while we're in city driving, I was on the battery 65% of the time, and the gas engine would only need to come on in specific certain circumstances. And I made a separate video, by the way, on how you could properly drive Lexus or Toyota hybrid vehicles. And that's actually where I give you some more tips that even improve your fuel economy down to that 4.7, 4.8, 4.9 range. I'm not saying that happens all the time. I'm just saying if you really want to improve the fuel economy, the options are there on how to specifically drive this vehicle. So in terms of the powertrain delivering on the performance that I wanted, I think it's done a good job. Now, the engine doesn't sound the greatest. It sounds a little bit like it's struggling a little bit, but honestly, that's not the biggest deal in the world to me. Yes, do I wish the engine sounded a little bit better? Sure, but it sounds the way it sounds. It's not like super harsh or anything, but you notice it is a harsher sound than my lovely and never forgotten 2009 Lexus IS250, which I sold. Yes, that's news to everybody. I've sold that vehicle because we just didn't need a second car anymore. But the new owner is gonna love it. The new owner will absolutely enjoy that vehicle. I'm super happy for them. But you guys, I'm sad now. That Lexus was amazing too. Outside of the engine sound, the powertrain has done phenomenally well. Now let's take a look. Exterior, and I'm gonna bring you guys into the interior. But on the exterior, I'm not gonna pound myself too much on this again on this video. I love the exterior. Look at the vehicle, guys. I'm a big Lexus lover. I love the design language of Lexus. I'm not going to spend too much time here because I've spent talking about the exterior a lot in other videos. Look, I will say this. Truly, I think when you buy a vehicle, you have to love the way it looks on the outside. And when I looked at this vehicle, I'm like, I love the way this looks. This is what I like. This is what your heart gets to. That's how I feel about this exterior. So I love it. Let me hear in the comments if you agree with me or not. But if you're watching this video, most likely you're like, hey, it looks good at minimum, right? And I think it looks great. I think they've done a great job of the design language on this vehicle. Now, since we're talking about the exterior, this car comes with 20-inch beautiful wheels. I love these wheels. They are on run flat tires. Now, a lot of people don't like the run flats because you do get more noise in the cockpit, and you do definitely get more noise, but I love the look of these wheels. I think they really stand out on this vehicle. But then I also have, which you'll see my black wheels, those 18s. These are Lexus replica wheels, and I have them on these Michelin X-Ice tires, and that's great for the winter. So I've driven this vehicle both in the winter and in the summer, and the all-wheel drive performance of this is phenomenal. Absolutely love the performance of it. Never got stuck in the snow. You pair all-wheel drive with great winter tires, and you're gonna have a phenomenal experience. Especially because this car weighs a good bit, right? 4,100 pounds, roughly, curb weight. It is a bit on the hefty side, but hey, that heft helps in the winter conditions. And in the summer, again, I've had no problem driving this vehicle. The tires on the run flats are great. No problem with performance or grip. Again, as a daily driver, I'm not headed to the track like I would in my Audi R8, for example. You know, nothing too crazy on the brakes. Simple brake package, that's fine. Brakes are progressive and firm. It does have regenerative braking, so that helps, of course, with the hybrid powertrain and the battery. That's gonna go ahead and support it. So you got about 22 cubic feet of space in the rear, so I think that's pretty good. We've put our stroller in there and a whole bunch of stuff. And honestly, it's perfectly fine for us. You have a kick sensor as well, which opens the rear compartment. That's part of this technology package, which I'll talk about. Okay, so let's get back inside the vehicle where I am. And this is where I think it really shines in the class, in the segment. Number one, I love the interior combo look of the eminent white on the exterior and the Palomino on the interior. We have these new Lux leather seats, so you don't get the real leather in this package. You go to executive, you get the full real leather. Arguably, looking at the forums and in my experience, this is better than real leather. It doesn't get as hot in the summer. It doesn't get as cold in the winter. I like it. They're fully perforated seats, of course. That's fine. But let's talk about right now the package inside here, the infotainment system. You got this beautiful 14-inch touchscreen display, best in class, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, fully wireless, and it works great. I absolutely love this display. It makes everything in terms of your infotainment, your music, your mobile device for making phone calls, GPS, everything super easy, super convenient. I take Zoom calls in here. Everything works and it's awesome. I love it. This is probably the stellar choice in the market in terms of the infotainment system for this segment and for this class. Also, I like the fact that not all the controls are on the screen. So you have a lot of capacitive buttons that you can go ahead and press, dials to turn left and right. You have all of that there to make the experience much more tactile and better, in my opinion. So I really do like this. Continuing on the tech package, you have a wireless phone charger right here in the center. I like that. You also have a video camera rear view mirror. On top of that, with that rear view mirror, you have a full 360 view camera on this vehicle, which I really like. So you can access it with this button in the center console. You press this and you have full 360 view. It also comes with sensors. So you have that, you get audible warnings, you get visual warnings, and it's got a whole bunch of safety features along with these sensors. So it's got Lexus Safety Sense 3.0, and it's a full suite of systems from anti-collision warning, pedestrian warning, rear cross traffic alert, emergency braking. I could go on and on and on all the technology and safety features that are built in, and bravo to Lexus for making sure all of it is standard across the packages. So all the safety standard across all the packages. I really do appreciate that. On top of that, in terms of the tech, we also have, I mentioned in this package, the Pioneer 10 speaker audio system. So you don't have that 17 system Mark Levinson system. That's okay, you still have that there. In the other packages, you have the heads-up display. You don't have that here. You have an instrument cluster that looks really great, very clear, easy to read. But also what I'll say is about this 14-inch screen. The fact that it's angled towards the driver a little bit more makes all the difference in the world. So I don't have to actually really look at the screen. I can just glance at it and I get to see all the information that's the most relevant to me that I need now without actually taking my eyes off the road, which I honestly really appreciate. And that's one of the biggest selling features for me is how easy it is to interact with the screen, connect with the car. Everything works out really perfect. So in terms of the other technology stuff, you have a full suite and app. So you have a Lexus app that you can go ahead and customize based on your profile. You have a digital key, which is like a credit card key that I keep in here. That's great. So this is basically my key. You also have the app. You can remote start through the app, remote start through the fob. You have all those abilities there. You can track the car by GPS, all of this stuff. So basically all the kind of latest tech that you would expect from a quote unquote Tesla, you're getting in this vehicle, which I like. Now, is it as refined as the Tesla? Maybe not. It probably isn't. I made a video about some of the quirks. Like I've had some glitches with the infotainment system, some glitches with how Apple CarPlay connects wirelessly to the car. But those things have resolved out over time through software updates. And the other thing I learned is that on iPhone, if you go into a beta software, I ended up having a lot more issues there. But once I got out of beta software and opted out from that, all my issues are basically gone. So now I have a great seamless experience. As soon as I walk into the vehicle, Android Auto or Apple CarPlay connects, I charge my phone wirelessly, and we're good to go. So that's been great. On top of all this, the entire vehicle is dotted with USB. So I have a USB-C port up front, USB-A port up front, and then I have two USB-C ports back for the rear passengers. So in terms of like connectivity and charging ability, this car is fully loaded with everything that you need. On top of that, on the interior, let's talk about a little bit about the aesthetics and the fit and finish and the quality. Big, thick steering wheel that I love. You have these paddle shifters over here. Again, everything's of nice quality. I like this. The new Lux, I do really appreciate as well. I think it's done a really good job, fully ventilated. Your driver's seat is fully adjustable with lumbar support. The passenger side is fully adjustable but doesn't have lumbar support, so you should be aware of that. Memory seating here over on the left. You have this piano black plastic in the center console. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It gets dirty, it gets fingerprints on it. I might get like a cover over it or something. It's not the end of the world, but I think it's fine. You have this shifter here. Some reviews, people said that they didn't get used to the shifter. Guys, this is a really simple car to shift, okay? It's very simple, it's intuitive. I really like it. I think it's fine and easy. You have these door handles. These door handles catch people up all the time. I think they're very intuitive. They also have additional safety capabilities. If I'm opening the door because of these door handles and there's a biker coming beside me, it's going to automatically detect that a bike's there and it's going to stop me from opening the door. So that's some pretty cool stuff, right? Like the fact that it can do this in terms of the safety, I really appreciate all these features. But you always have to explain to people when they get in the vehicle for the first time, how do I get out of this? How do I open this door? And you just quickly explain, they're like, oh, that makes sense. You know, because it's still new. Other things in the interior, you have this kind of center console here that you can go ahead and open for your storage. You can open it both ways. That's great. And then you have this huge panoramic glass roof. And I really like this glass roof. It adds so much air into the cockpit of this cabin. I really like it. The lighting that comes from it, I think, is really good. And now let's talk about the rear seat. So the rear is fine. Again, the NX is a bit smaller than the RX, but I can still fit my baby back there. You can still fit a baby with a baby seat and two people back there. Is it going to be the most comfortable ride? No. But is it going to be, you know, Doable? Yes, it absolutely will be doable. Now, if you plan to have that configuration for a while, you might consider getting the RX. And I did a full video review of the Lexus RX 500h, which you can go ahead and check out. And I want to say thank you to my friends at Lexus of Oakville for supplying that vehicle for us to review. But that's basically the 20% bigger version of this vehicle with some additional things, and that's the 500h version. But on the interior, honestly, I've been really happy. The tech package is amazing. That 14-inch screen is the highlight of the show in this interior. It's comfortable. It's relatively quiet. I'm not going to say it's absolutely quiet, but it does get quieter when you don't have the run flats on. So I've noticed in my winter tire setup, it is definitely a little bit quieter, but it's still an overall enjoyable experience in here. Now let's talk about the maintenance and reliability. And again, this is the highlight of why I love this vehicle. Lexus reliability is bar none the best in the industry. I've owned many cars, BMWs, Audis, Fords, Chevys, everything you can imagine. None of them came close to my Lexus vehicles, my IS250, my IS350, both with over 350,000 kilometers on them in terms of reliability. This car, I feel the exact same way. I only have 17,000 kilometers on the vehicle, but I've already done my first oil change. If you want to go ahead and see that full video, I will link it in the card above as well. But very simple, reliable vehicle. So it's got a massive warranty, not only for the internal combustion engine, but for the hybrid powertrain as well, which is very important. So look, the oil change is basically all this car needs, right? The servicing is just oil changes. You know, the oil I also brought up is kind of very thin. It was surprising to me. It's a 0W16 oil, so that's a pretty thin oil, but hey, these new engines are using that to, you know, improve fuel economy. The other great thing when we're talking about fuel economy is what fuel does this use? Fuel's very expensive. This is on 87, so this does not require premium fuel. So that's going to help you at the pump, definitely. With that and the hybrid powertrain, you're saving a lot of money at the pump. The big part that I really enjoy about this vehicle is knowing that it's going to be basically maintenance free, right? I just do my oil changes on time. You have your consumables, of course, but otherwise, this is going to be a reliable vehicle for you to go A to B on every single day. And I made another video on this of why I chose a hybrid over full electric, and that was a big thing for me. Do I go full electric or do I go hybrid? I'm going to summarize that video in basically 2 sentences. Canada, the infrastructure is not ready. 1. 2, manufacturers, their battery ranges are not enough. And with winter conditions, you should reasonably expect whatever they tell you when they advertise, you're going to get 30 to 35% less range in the winter. That's happened. I was stranded with a Tesla, and it's even worse for other OEM manufacturers. So went with the hybrid, and I've been absolutely happy. And 9 months later, do I regret that decision? Absolutely not. This was the best decision to make, getting this hybrid engine. I'm really happy with it. Tremendous fuel economy, the great performance and power that I need. I really love this vehicle. So in summary, guys, I love this SUV. I love this Lexus. I'm so glad we bought it. You know, I was a little bit nervous. It was the first time buying a new vehicle for me. And I've had great luck with used Lexuses, and those are the IS series cars. And I just thought, you know, I got to try it again with this SUV, and I couldn't be happier. I actually couldn't be happier. And the final thing I'll mention is that the Lexus service experience was also stellar. So I do want to tip my hat to the guys at Lexus of Oakville. They've been awesome to work with and really appreciate the service. And honestly, that adds to the experience of buying this vehicle. So overall, guys, I'm really happy with it. My wife is really happy with it, which means I'm even happier with it. And my baby seems to be happy with it. And so everybody's happy with it. My family's happy with it. Nobody's not happy with it. If there was one thing that my dad wasn't happy with, he's like, you shouldn't have bought a brand new car. But when I told him I bought a Lexus, he's like, you know what? In 40 years of driving vehicles from my father, he's like, that's okay. At least you bought the Lexus. So that's good. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Leave them down in the comment box down below. I definitely will respond to anything. Make sure you give this video a like if you thought it was helpful. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. I'll be doing more video updates on this Lexus. Of course, this is my own kind of long-term ownership videos on how I've been experiencing it, maintenance, upkeep, anything that comes up with this vehicle. I'll be obviously capturing it and sharing it with all of you guys. But I couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier with this thing. It brings joy to my life, and it's honestly just a really good experience driving it. I seriously, just like my R8, I look at it, and every time I look at it, I'm like, that's a sexy SUV. It's a sexy SUV. And then when I get into it, I'm like, This is pretty sexy. It's a pretty sexy SUV. And something about the fact that it's so reliable makes it sexier. You'd think reliability is boring, but I don't know. I think reliability is sexy. Do you guys agree? Actually, let me know. Forget everything else about your questions. Do you think reliability is sexy? Think about that. I'll catch you guys in the next video.